Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten.
Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, Health, Fitness, and Sport.
And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love.
We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be.
So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together. Hey, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And you?
I'm doing good.
Good. You just got back from a trip, a coaching trip. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's definitely my wellness win, is the energy I get from coaching camps, especially open water swim clinics. It's definitely my niche. I used to do the Wednesday night Horsetooth Tri clinics. Dawn and I started open water swim clinics in Lake Loveland in the early 2000s. No one was doing it. And that was one thing when I moved out of Colorado that I knew I was going to miss, and I still do, is the open water swim clinics and the indoor triathlons I used to host. So, I was invited. It was a Team Zoot camp, and I think it was Mid-Atlantic region. I guess there's a lot of regions.
Yeah.
And so my friend Karen, who I used to be her coach, she invited me to come coach the swim part. And I stayed for the rest, but I was there as, I did transition clinics. I helped with the T1 and the T2, and then I was on the ride and on the run and just answering athlete questions. And whether they had a coach or not, it didn't matter. There were some people that were really sponges and really just like looking at me like, oh my God, this woman's amazing. So it just felt really good for people to like really value what I had to say and value what I did. And it's just been a long time. I mean, I haven't done any open water swim clinics since I moved to Georgia, which has been 9 years. I've done some open water swim private lessons, but nothing to the extent that I used to do. And so it just kind of gave me a lot of energy. I just started multi-sport training again about a month ago. And so it's my off season from doing trail running, and it's my multi-sport in season. So it always motivates me when I come back from camps, especially the ones I used to do in Turkey, to come back from camps and just be really motivated to train again and get connected again and, get outside my comfort zone.
Yeah. Are you still doing your business coach?
This month ended 6 months.
Okay.
So I committed to 6 months. I was actually going to mention that. And I decided I'm not going to continue. I just decided finally today, like I've been thinking about it every day for 2 weeks. And I decided, I have enough information, enough to work on, especially like fine tuning my niche again. Like I kind of lost track of my niche when I moved here, and then just things just changed, and just kind of reframing what I want to do and who my ideal athlete is to coach, and updating my website and just stuff that I feel like I got a lot out of, but I'm ready to just see how I do on my own.
Right. Because I was going to ask, when you're talking about, you remember that this is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you saw your business coach, if they could help you figure out how to do more of it.
I mean, yes and no. So I've already been going on this route for a while. It's just kind of like it's going to take a lot of work. I mean, swimming online is not the same as teaching swimming in person.
Right.
Colorado, I had a location. I don't really have locations here. I mean, I could go to Red Top Mountain. It's a 45-minute drive to do a private lesson, but it's really difficult to allow non-members into Lifetime and I cannot do private lessons at Lifetime unless they give me Lifetime members to do private lessons with.
Right.
And then I don't get paid hardly anything. So I've just kind of gotten away from the swimming. I mean, I really, really tried on social media in 2024 marketing my online swimming, and it didn't go anywhere. So I'm kind of like, I just need a break from that. But me and my business coach have just determined before I went to camp, this is where my excitement lies.
Yeah.
And so to go for it. And I already know what I need to do, and I'm already kind of doing. I've already gotten permits to hold events at local open water swim venues. I'm partnered with Fleet Feet, as a running shoe store. I'm going to do it with them. This is not something I wanted or have a desire to do by myself, an
Right.
event. And just trying to again have engage with people, engage with people. So so opportunities like this one in North Carolina just kind of happened because I knew the people putting it on and they knew me. And so just kind of putting myself out there. And right now I'm just kind of coming up with a different marketing, networking scheme, not a scheme, but
A plan.
for social
Yeah.
media, because, I think as a coach this day and age, it's all about how do you market yourself on social media is a big part of building a business. And so, yes, she has helped me with that. And I feel like I'm energized to say, okay, I'm ready to go put in the work, which I've already been putting in the last 2 months.
Right.
It's probably going to be more fruitful next year,
Right.
but put in the work this year, line up, my P's and Q's, whatever the saying is. And, really be able to market in the fall and winter, these open water swim clinics that I want to do, and myself as a coach that could attend other people's camps.
Right. Yeah, I've learned, especially when I've been in a lot of like network marketing businesses and sales businesses. And it's kind of like training for an event or losing weight or doing these other things that take time and
Mhm.
patience. When you start really focusing in on something, minimum 3 months,
Right.
minimum 90 days till you start seeing any big results from it.
Mhm.
So I remember like I would do back when calling people on the phone was a thing. um, I would have a goal. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to call, 100 people a week, and I'm going to do it every day for 90 days. And after
Mhm.
30 days, like nothing really big came about because it had only been 30 days. And then
Right.
60 days, like maybe a little bit, but it's so easy to give up before you see
Mhm.
the fruit from your efforts.
Right.
It's so easy to give up because 90 days in our immediate gratification society where we are right now is a really long time to be patient and wait for results.
Right.
And so, but when you know, just like we've talked about a lot of things, like when you know the third of your workouts are going to suck, when you know it's going to take you 90 days to see the benefits of all your work, when you know those things, it's easier to wait because you know it's coming.
Right.
So we will tell you guys, just stay on something, stay the course, stay with it, keep doing those little things, and you will end up seeing some big things in the end.
Right.
So I love that. My wellness win is a handful of things happened over the last week that in the past would have kind of sent me into maximum overdrive with my anxiety or my overthinking. And they didn't. Like little things like somebody, um, I thought I did something right, but I did it wrong. And somebody
Mhm.
pointed that out. And normally that would make me feel like, oh my gosh, I did something wrong.
Uh-huh.
Blah, blah, blah. Or like I had an interview with a woman about coaching, and she ended up going with another coach. And again, I get that because I want someone to match with me if they feel like they match with me.
Mhm.
And when we got off the phone, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I talked to one other person, but you seem like you're it. But I'm still gonna talk to this one other person." And I was like, "Okay." And then she, told me the next day that she was like, "I'm going with the other one." And not that that makes me upset because I I understand that, but it
Mhm.
makes me in the past it's made me feel like I suck. Like what? Like what's like not it's like what can I do better? What's wrong with me? Why wouldn't she want to go with me?
Right.
When it's kind of like so I think of it kind of like dating. You're like, I wouldn't want someone to go with me if they liked somebody better.
Right.
Like I wouldn't want if a guy liked me and one other girl but he liked her more, but he's like, "Oh, I'll just settle and like go with Kirsten." I'd be like,
Uh-huh.
"No, I don't want that." So in the past, I feel like a bunch of these things that have and they're just really small things, but overall, they add up. And in the past, it would have affected me more as far as like my self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to change? And for whatever reason, I don't know the reason, but it hasn't sent me into that. It's more like, okay, moving on. Um, which feels really good because I I I don't want to have as much anxiety in my life as I give myself. And so if I could do if these little things aren't affecting me as much as they used to, I think there won't be a buildup of me all of a sudden just feeling like super low in general.
Yeah, I understand that feeling. I remember an athlete, I think it was like the first athlete who left me, so to speak.
Right.
And she had just gone to the world championships with me as her coach. And within about 3 months after the world championships in Kona, she told me she was going to get another coach. And I was
And
just
you're like,
like,
why?
like the dagger. It was really
Right.
because I think I'm pretty sure she was my first one that ended up leaving for another coach.
Right.
That was the
Yeah,
first time
not just because her season was over.
right. And that hurt a lot. And then, again, I self-talk. I'm like, well, I was only charged. She was a friend. I was only charging her half of what I normally
Right.
charge. And I'm like, I got her to a world championship. That's really meaningful. And that's very successful as a coach athlete relationship. And I
Right.
just kind of looked at all the positive things, and we're still friends, and just how much value I know I gave her as her coach. Still was weird to leave me, but anyway, I
You're
don't,
like, still after
and since
15
then,
years.
and this was like 10 years ago. Since
Right.
then, no, maybe 5 years ago, it's athletes who have I've had a couple more athletes leave me for another coach, and then they come back to me. And that makes me say, oh my God, it's so valuable to go with other coaches to see if it's a better fit for you. And if it's not, they come back, and that's always like, oh yes, yes. So I've gone both ways, and yeah, it's, I'm over, it doesn't affect me like it did that first one. It's like, that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, I had
I
a
don't want to
girl.
coach you if you don't want me to coach you.
Exactly. I had a girl that I ran into at a race right at Stroke and Stride right before the Boulder 70.3. And she was like, I coached her for a few years on and
Mhm.
off. And
Mhm.
she decided to do Boulder 70.3 self coached. And when I ran into her, she was like, yeah, that did not work out very well for me. She was like,
Right.
I miss you every single day. Like, that was not a good choice on my part. So, yeah, that
Right.
makes me feel good. Like you said, if people like step away and then they realize, because sometimes you don't know what you've got until it's gone.
Cold's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just proud of myself for, and it's not even proud of myself. I was just happy that things aren't making me go like spiral down like
Yeah.
they used
Yeah.
to for whatever reason. I'll take
Yeah.
it.
I absolutely understand.
Yeah. So this week, Wendy and I want to talk about traveling made easy. One reason Wendy just traveled. I've traveled a couple times this year already, about to go on a road trip in the next couple weeks. And I know that for me, traveling used to give me so much anxiety because of my food, my things I like to have with me, my boundaries that I'm not very good at holding. Like, for a lot of reasons, travel made me really anxious. So I thought, between Wendy and I, she travels more by plane. I travel more by car. We've both traveled to races near and far. We've both traveled to go meet with family, which sometimes is a good blend of amazing and awful. And then both of us have traveled with our families. And they're all three completely different situations. But I know that I have had several of my athletes I coach freak out because they're going to a family reunion or they have to go visit their grandparents, and they're worried about their training, their nutrition. Is everything they're doing just going to, explode, and kind of how to navigate that. So we wanted to share travel tips to make traveling easy, in all situations. So Wendy, let's start with traveling to a race or traveling for a race.
So I used to get a whole lot of anxiety, and my anxiety was due to the airport. What if I forget or lose my license or my passport or my wallet, money? And because I get anxiety about that, I double check, triple check, quadruple check. I always have it really close to my heart. I put it here, like, and then, um, and then the whole security thing has changed so much over the years. I mean, gosh, I used to travel to races by myself, before 9/11, and it was just so easy. And I would rent a car by myself, and I never used to get anxious, and I'd be all by myself. I'm like, how did I do that? I was so young and naive, I didn't know any better. And now, when I travel on a regular kind of routine basis, you're in the habit of doing it like every, let's say few months, then it's just easier because you just did it 3 months ago. You know how to pack, you know how to secure your valuables, you know how to feel less anxious, you know how to make sure you get there super early. Like I'll get to the airport 5 hours early. That makes me feel so much better. The earlier the better. Once I'm through security, I'm so relaxed, I'm so comfortable, I'm so like at peace. So I go from a very high level of anxiety, get through security, everything's fine. I'm sitting there waiting for my plane, and and then once I get on the plane, I just close my eyes and I rest. And it's really, really amazing feeling, hey, no more anxiety. So it's really just kind of different. This past week, usually when I'm planning a trip, it sounds awesome in the future. And then as it gets closer, I feel the anxiety creep up because it's like, okay, I want to make sure I have all my athletes' training plans done at least a week or two so I don't come home and feel overwhelmed. I don't want to forget anything. I don't want to forget an athlete's plan. Why would I forget an athlete's plan? There's no reason to. I got a list of athletes. I know how far I have to schedule them. But there's always that fear of, but what if I forget to update someone's training plan and I'm away at this camp, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, it's Monday and they don't have anything on their Training Peaks calendar. Like that's a stupid thing to get anxious over, but that's usually what happens to me. I just want to make sure everything part of my livelihood is all done. So when I go away, I'm really off. I don't have to think about any athletes that I coach, I'm still checking their Training Peaks. It's easy to check from my phone, but it's like everything's in order and the house is clean and things are in their place, and then I can just go enjoy it. This past week, I had to drive 4 hours to South Carolina. It was actually, I planned it. I knew when I was going to leave. I knew when I was going to get there. It was actually great. I didn't have any anxiety about it at all, which it hasn't happened in a while. So I think, again, the more you do something like traveling, the easier it gets because you're in a habit of doing it on a periodic basis.
So your biggest tip, it sounds like what you're saying is plan ahead, plan for everything, get everything, all your ducks in a row before you leave, so that when you're actually at your destination, you don't have to worry so much.
Right. So I think you asked about planning for a race. I mean, there's race day checklists, there's the visualization. You know what you need to swim, you know what you need to bike, you know what you need to run if you're going for a triathlon. It's easy. Make sure you have everything. Food wise, it's a little different because you can't travel necessarily with food in your carry-on bag or anything like that. So you just have to acknowledge you may be eating a little bit differently, at least until you get to your destination and you can get to your grocery store, especially if you're flying, than you would normally. And it's kind of like, okay, that's no big deal. I'm going to spend a lot more money at the airport if I need food or drinks or anything like that. And stuff doesn't bother me at all because I know, I'm planning ahead. Do I need to stay in a hotel by a pool? Do I need to stay in a hotel that has bikes or a gym? Do I need, where are the grocery stores? Where are the pools? Where are the facilities that I like to do?
So that would be one of my biggest tips is piggybacking on what Wendy just said is what helps me is I go through what my schedule is going to be for the time I'm gone. And I do this whether I'm traveling for training, for racing, to see my family, to be with my family. It doesn't matter. What I do is I go through each day and I write everything down. So I have a notebook and I'll open the notebook and I'll write everything down, what I'm going to do hour by hour every day, the whole time I'm gone. And then I make sure that I'm prepared for that. So for example, Wendy said food. So before I even go somewhere, I'm going to look up like, where's the grocery store? Do they have the food I want? If not, even when I flew somewhere like a month ago, I went to California, and this month, so not even a month ago. And it's someplace I go all the time. So I know where everything is, but I have my protein drink I like. I have my protein bars I like. I have my pre-workout I like. I packed all of that. And it does take a few more minutes in security because if you pack powders, they're going to test them all. It took me like 5 extra minutes. But for me, having either everything I need with me or knowing exactly where I'm going to get it is really, really helpful for me, especially if I'm going to race, because I have I know what I want to eat and drink before, during, and after a race. And I want to make sure that where I'm going, I can get it. And if not, I'm going to bring it with me. So those things are really important to me, is planning. And even, and I know we're just talking about like the race venue, but I mean, when we're going somewhere to race, but I like to go as early as I can possibly go with my life schedule. I don't mind leaving right after a race. So if I get a week off for a race, I'd rather be there for 6 days, do a race, and then leave the next morning.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Because I want to get there, relax, adapt to the climate, the time zone change, all that stuff, find my food, find a pool. It's so easy now, you guys. You go online and you could be like public swimming pool, YMCA, rec center, and call them, say, what are your hours? How much does it cost to get in? When is lap swim? And then okay, it's going to cost $10. I can go Thursday at 2, swim a little bit, and then, whatever you like to do for your pre-race stuff. But you can search even restaurants. Like I'm vegan, so it's a little bit more challenging in some places to find somewhere that has vegan food. So I'll search in advance wherever I'm staying, vegan restaurants nearby. If there aren't any, then, like Chipotle, like I know places that I can get, that are around, that I can get food that my body does well with and that I like to eat either before or after a race.
Yep.
Do you do a physical checklist for race stuff, or I know you've, and it's kind of hard because you've been doing it forever. But think about
I
new
read the
people.
seat in my pants. I'm spontaneous. I don't write checklists. I don't keep a notebook. It's in my head. I'm just able to process everything, and I don't lay anything out. I've never done what I see people do on social media where they lay their stuff out and blah, blah. No, like I throw things in a bag. I forget stuff. Like I might forget some socks, but I've forgotten socks before, so I don't forget socks anymore, But I'm just more of the casual spontaneity, throw things in a bag, get there, go.
So the good thing about these days, if you're going to a race, anything that you could possibly forget, you can probably find at the race. So back in the olden days, like I feel like it was more like, oh gosh, do I have my cartridges? Do I have my goggles? Like all those things. But now, like, I feel like anywhere you can go, you could buy cartridges at Walmart. So most places where you go these days, if you forget something, it's no big deal. It might cost you a bunch of money to get it, but you're probably not going to go without.
Well, one thing that happened to me is 2022 when I went to Kona, I had 2 pairs of the exact same Shimano shoes. And this is Kona. I really double and triple checked, but lo and behold, I brought 2 left shoes, and so I didn't have a right cycling shoe. I was there early enough. I mean, it could have been a traumatic event. It wasn't. I was totally like, you know what? If I have to ride my bike in my running shoes, so be it. It's not like I've never done that before. And I had connections, and I just kind of emailed or went on Facebook and logged into some of my groups, and I told them what happened. And someone said, go to the bike shop in Waikoloa and tell them I sent you. And I went there and I bought a brand new pair of shoes, my color. It was even perfect because I got a pair of shoes in my color. And it worked out. It worked out for me that time. It might not have worked out that way all the time. So that was probably one of my most, stressful moments of not having my cycling shoes for the Ironman World Championship.
Right. Well, and even like at bigger races, they always have some sort of expo. Like Wendy was saying, she could like pick up something. I think it was last year at St. George, Ashley was like, there's a helmet sponsor there, and they're really nice Aero helmets. And Ashley's like, I'll just buy a helmet and I'll just wear it for the race. So,
Right.
I mean, she brought a helmet, but she found one she liked better, and
Right.
she had a helmet. So I think, like you said, like Wendy's a more fly by the seat of her pants person. But if you're not, there are like, you can go online and be like triathlon race checklist. Or if you have a coach, ask your coach. I'm sure Wendy has a checklist somewhere she can give her athletes.
I have a ton of them.
Yeah.
To me, when I think of a checklist, it's just like, for some reason it's all in here, but if I had to go write it all out, I don't want to do that. I could look up a checklist right now. I could add and delete and revise it and all that, but I'm just someone who like likes to just do it.
Right. But if you're not someone who likes to just do it, or if this might be your first time racing, this might be your first time traveling for racing. There are lots of checklists out there that I remember getting a towel. Remember back in the olden days, there was some company that sold a towel that had a whole checklist on the towel,
Yeah.
so you could do that.
Oh yeah. The checklist on the towel. That was
Yeah,
cool.
do you remember that? Can you think of anything else for people? Think about people who maybe they're a little nervous. It is their first time racing. Is there anything else that you can think of that will make it easier for them?
And this comes to mind because I know a woman who her and her daughter, who I used to coach, they're doing their first sprint. It's an all women's race, and she's been texting me stuff, and I'm like, she knows I'm a coach, but yeah, all she does is go on YouTube, and I'm like, telling me what I don't already know, but whatever. But as she's preparing, she's going on YouTube searching, first time triathlete videos. And I'm like, she's learning mistakes beginner triathletes make. And I told her, I'm like, it's not really a mistake. You're a beginner. You may or may not know. I wouldn't call it a mistake. It's a good learning opportunity. And then I think back to my first time in the 90s, 92 to be specific. It's like, I did it I had a bucket that I sat on. We didn't have YouTube. I'd never been to a triathlon before. But I figured it out because I knew what I needed to run in, I knew what I needed to swim in, and I knew what I needed to bike. And the rest was learn as you go and learn as you race.
Right.
So it was just an interesting to be in this moment that happened overnight. And this morning, this conversation we were having, because she was getting so nervous and anxious about being a first time and making sure she has a tri kit. And I'm like, God, I used to wear a big baggy cotton t-shirt on a mountain bike with my mom's huge helmet, And it's just interesting how so much has changed. But I mean, as I said, you Google anything, you Google and you get a YouTube video for something. you have social media, you have Facebook groups, you have Instagram. There's just, it could be content overload. And that would make me more anxious because this content sensory overload thing going on with social media and preparing for a triathlon. I just don't like it.
You're like, it's too much. Yeah,
Yeah.
my first race I wore, I love it because my picture has me running in my bike gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like running in my bike gloves. I'm wearing my lifeguard swimsuit,
Uh-huh.
and I'm running in my bike gloves. And I'm like, I wanted to be fast in transition, so I didn't want to take off my bike gloves.
That's
Although I
awesome.
spent a lot of time putting them on, I'm sure, after the swim.
That's
And
awesome.
those are all
I've
fun
never,
stories.
I've never worn bike gloves.
I no, me neither. Not since then. It was a mountain bike.
Uh-huh.
And you know how mountain bike grips are really
Uh-huh.
grippy. So anyway, those fun first stories. The only other thing I would add when you're, because a lot of people freak out about, their nutrition and fitness and stuff. The good news is when you're going to a race, you're probably tapering. So taking a whole day to travel, don't even worry about, I would say if you're driving to a race and it's like 9, 10, 12 hours, maybe stop every time you stop, just like walk around a rest area or walk around the gas station or do some stretches or, do some mobility exercises. Because just because you're sitting for a really long time and your only goal really is to stay loose. You don't need to go like run miles around the rest area. Just stay loose and stay hydrated because traveling typically dehydrates you. And I know it kind of sucks. Like in the car, you have to stop and pee, or on the airplane, you have to, you're sitting by the window and you have to scooch by everyone. But make it a priority to stay hydrated, especially if you're traveling really close to your race day and you don't have a few days to kind of settle in and recover. Is, just tell the person that you're sitting next to when you get on the plane, say, so I'm probably going to have to go to the bathroom a couple times. Or if you're
Mhm.
driving with somebody, just tell them, hey, we're going to be stopping every few hours.
Yeah, and I think that leads into just traveling in general, whether you're traveling to visit family, traveling with family. I think the anxiety, and it doesn't happen to me anymore, but it used to, was I'm out of my routine. I'm out of my training routine. I'm here for primary purpose of family time and family activities. And I used to be like, I will find any way. I'll be in the hotel gym at 4 a.m. I want to get my run in before the day gets away from me and we're doing all this family stuff. But I think that is what used to cause me anxiety about traveling, non-race traveling, was just I'm out of my training routine and out of routine in general.
Yeah, I agree. And what I would recommend in that situation is if you're wanting to be like, because I have athlete I'm coaching right now, and she just spent a week away and she was like, I don't want a training plan this week. Great. Like no training plan for the week because she didn't want that stress. She wanted to just go and be wherever she was going and be with who she was with. So if that's important to you and that's your priority, awesome, then do that. If your priority is, I want to be with my family, but I also want to keep training, then communicate that beforehand to your family or to your friend that you're going to visit. So I feel like as long as you know your reason for your priorities when you go on a trip, on a vacation, and a vacation, I went on a cruise once and I was training for an Ironman and I wanted to keep training. There's 24 hours in a day. I'm only going to train like 2 or 3 hours and then I can spend a bunch of time with the people I was there with. So I wanted to keep training. So if you're wanting to keep training, if you communicate that to the people that you're with, then when you get there, they're going to expect it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't and you just show up and then you get all nervous and you're like, well, I really wanted to get in a run. And then you feel like you can only do like a 30-minute run because everyone's waiting for you to go to the waterfall, then that's going to stress you out more. So I think if you go in with a plan, just like if you go into a race, you have a plan. And I have been able to train through any vacation if that was what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And my family just knows that, or my friends, they
Right.
just know that. If I go, like, we're going to go, my daughter and I are going to go in 2 weeks to visit my niece in Arizona. And we're going to go to the gym. We're going to be there we're driving for a day. We're going to be there for 2 days and we're driving home for a day. We're going to go to the gym both days. We're, it might be for an hour. It might be for 2 hours. We will probably stay and swim after because they have outdoor pools and kind of spend the day there. But that's something that everyone that I'm going to see there, they already know me and they already know that.
Mhm.
So they're not going to be like, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because I do have an athlete I train. And whenever she goes and visits family, she's like, oh, I feel really bad because I really want to work out, but they don't want me to. They want me to do this, 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 and this.
Right.
So communicating with them how important this is to you. And then, like Wendy said, if it's important to you and your family, you guys are going to the beach when you're leaving at 7 a.m., wake up at 5, wake up at 4:30, get in your workout, and then you don't have to think about it the rest of the day and you can spend it with your family.
Mhm.
And I think that goes the same with food, because this same athlete that I coach also has an issue when she goes to visit her family. She eats a bunch of crap that she doesn't want to eat. It's out of her routine and then she feels bad. Whereas when you go, if you know your mom makes whatever food that you don't want to eat, but you feel like you have to, communicate in advance. Let them know, hey, I'm cutting down on sugar a little bit. So I'm probably going to bring some of my own food.
Mhm.
And if it's the first time you're doing this, you might feel a little uncomfortable, but you need to take care of yourself or you're going to not enjoy your trip. And I just bring all my own food everywhere I go. When I went to California this past month, I didn't even have a carry-on. I just had the personal item because I didn't want to pay for a carry-on. And it was this big backpack, and 75% of my backpack was food. I
Mhm.
brought one outfit, my running shoes, which took out half the backpack. I brought running clothes, one outfit, and the whole rest was food because that's my priority. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think everything we've just said is the communication's important.
yeah, and letting
You
people
know,
know.
and again, I used to fall into the trap of eating too much or too much crap, and I don't anymore. Like if I just have to go out to dinner and sit there and not eat anything, I'm fine with it. Totally, I take care of myself. No one needs to be concerned with me. No one needs to take care of me. I know my body. I know I snacked before we went out to dinner. I know I'm going to snack afterwards because I like certain foods. Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Right. And luckily, another thing that's really great about these days, whether you're flying or driving, because I was just in an airport a little while ago, 3 weeks ago. The food options in the convenience stores and in gas stations is so much better than it used to be. So you can go to the airport, and I got this trail mix
Hmm.
of this fruit and nut mix, this big bag of it. And that was my dinner. And it was delicious and it was healthy and it was vegan. And, 10 years ago, you didn't have those options. It was chips or candy and soda.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I got also a vanilla silk little drink. So
Hmm.
they had vegan almond milk at the airport.
Yeah.
And same with gas stations now. They have protein bars if you don't want to carry your own. If you're driving, you can kind of I have a whole huge cooler with all my stuff for my whole trip every time I drive somewhere.
Uh-huh.
So, like Wendy said, take care of yourself, take care of your needs, and it's going to make you a better human to be around when you get to your destination.
Right.
Um, So, do you have any other tips about traveling either to visit family or traveling with your family that might make it easier for people who are a little stressed out about it?
No, because I don't really travel for family. I moved to Georgia to live closer to family. My family's very small. So I can't I mean, I don't have any experience really with traveling with family or to family because I live with family.
Right. Well, I have traveled with family and to family a lot over the past few years, especially having a now 7-year old. Um, and one thing that was like a life changer is when she moved from a car seat to a booster seat.
Hmm.
So if you guys have a kid that's in between, they make these they're boosters, so they're not the car seat that you hold, or the car seat that that if you have an infant, there's no easy way to travel because you're carrying this giant car seat. You have to bring it, check it in. You most likely put it on a stroller, that so you don't have to carry it through the airport. But when they start getting into the bigger car seats, they make these conversion car seats that are a booster and a backing. So I want to say, when the kids, don't quote me on this because I don't want, when they're a certain weight or a certain height, they're allowed to go into that one that's like a back with a booster. And I ended up last year, I was about to travel to Arizona with Cora, and I'd only traveled with her giant car seat, and I had this huge backpack I bought so I could carry her car seat on my back. So I bought the booster because I knew she would eventually need it, and I traveled with just the booster part, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. Just she could even carry the booster. Like, that's
Hmm.
how small and light it is. So and I found out about it, just like Wendy said, Google it, look it up on Chat GPT, like look at a YouTube video, find ways that fit your specific situation to make traveling easier. And again, we always just pack our backpacks full of food that we eat that we already like. So it doesn't mess up our digestive system. It doesn't, um, mess up our routine. Packing food is my hugest advice for making travel easy.
Right. And like all our podcasts, the key to wellness is nutrition and sleep.
Yeah. Ooh, if you could sleep on the plane, that's a bonus.
I don't
Um,
really sleep on the plane, but I'm very relaxed. Like I could really like my heart rate goes down, my HRV is probably phenomenal. Um, but I just feel really you know, mentally at ease.
that's good. One thing I wanted to mention, because I know a lot of people traveling that are maybe training for a really long event, or maybe like an ultra or something, and they're like, I want to get in miles. I want to get in miles. So I wanted to share this because I have an athlete I coach, and she's an ultra marathoner. She's training for a 200-mile race right now. And she doesn't, her body feels horrible when she does nothing. And she mentally feels better when she's moving. And so some of the things that she's done over the years, she travels quite a bit. So if she's driving, she'll stop every 2 to 3 hours and like walk or run a couple miles just at the rest area or wherever she is.
Hmm.
And I used to do that when I lived in the RV, because I wasn't getting to a destination in a short amount of time. Like, we were like in the RV some days for like 5 days traveling across the US. And so if I wanted to get training in, which I did because I was training for an Ironman, we would do the same thing. Because if you're in an RV and you want to stay at a truck stop, you have to be there by about 5 p.m. or else you don't get a spot. So then I have like a couple hours in the evening. So I would just run around the truck stop because I didn't want to run far. I didn't know the area. So I'd run around the truck stop, or I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I would ride my trainer in the RV. But there are ways to keep moving while you're traveling. And another thing that she did was, um, this year she was traveling by plane somewhere. She had a layover. She got to the airport early, had a layover. She ended up, her goal, she's like, I'm just going to get in some steps and see, try to get in a half marathon. So between her airport moving, layovers, everything, she got in a half marathon on a travel day.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, when I travel, I don't take the train to my gate. I'll walk. And usually for me in the Atlanta airport, it's at least a mile or so from, where I go through security to the gate that I'm at. And if I'm early, I'll just keep walking around the area. And you could really get in, quite a few steps that way.
Yeah. And another thing is, I saw, if you're not you don't care about steps and endurance stuff, but you want to keep up on your strength training or your PT or your core work or mobility. I've seen people, when I was living in the RV, I saw some amazing things. Like at a rest area, this guy's doing like push-ups and squat jumps, and he had a whole little routine he was doing at the rest area.
Yeah, it's nice.
So like and same with at the airport. I've done running up and down the stairs before at the airport with my big backpack on. So I'm getting a good workout. Or like Wendy said, like walking around and checking out the shops instead of just sitting when you get to your gate.
Yeah.
And we're not saying sitting at the gate is bad, or is wrong, or is worse than walking around. It's whatever your priorities are. If your priorities are to keep moving, there are ways to keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
If your priorities are to sit on your butt and eat a bunch of crappy food because you're on vacation, I'm for that. So if you know what your priorities are before you travel, then you can plan and arrange so that things don't get you too far off your routine. Because I agree with Wendy. That's what makes me most anxious traveling, is getting off my routine.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else you wanted to add?
I don't think so.
Any, yeah, I can't, because those are the things that my athletes I coach have had stress about, is mostly the nutrition part. And I feel like just planning ahead, checking out the restaurants in the area, seeing what grocery stores are there. Another thing is, right when I get to a place, I'll go grocery shopping. And my friends and family just expect that from me. So they're not like, you weirdo, why are you going grocery shopping? So just communicate to them. Say like, I'm working on eating more fruits and vegetables. So as soon as I arrive, I'm going to order groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And just let people know.
Yeah, I mean, again, planning and adapting and just kind of maintaining, if that's your goal, is to kind of maintain routine. If that's not your goal and you're just, again, going on vacation, splurging, lying around, recovering, I mean, just intention.
Yeah. Yeah. Just put out, if you know what you want, you're most likely going to be able to get what you want. If you have no idea, it's going to be a crapshoot.
Right.
Did you have a listener question this week?
I did, but I didn't pull them up and I don't remember them, but I had a list going and I just forgot.
I have a listener question, and I kind of looked up the answer because I didn't know the answer. And so I'd like to hear your response. So I have an athlete who, when she has been biking, the balls of her feet have been getting really hot. Like to the point where it hurts to push down on her pedals. And I remember hearing people talk about this. So I know it could be several different things, but I want to hear your
I mean,
experience.
in my mind, number one, how long has she been biking? How long has the hot spot been forming? When does it start? Does it start immediately? Does it start an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into her ride? Has she recently gotten new shoes, new cleats? Has the cleat moved? And so, again, it could be a lot of different things, but my first guess, or my first advice would be, look at your cleats and your shoes, see if they've moved. Get a new cleat fit. It's hot spots, could be nerve related.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Because
a neurological thing.
What's a neuroma? Because
that's usually in your metatarsal.
And isn't it like a hot spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be a neuroma.
In my mind, I remember somebody that I coached a long, long time ago had a neuroma. And that's when this woman was telling me this, that was my first thought, was like, I wonder if that's what it is.
Could be a neuroma. I have an athlete that I've been coaching her for 2 months. Her feet go numb when she runs. And so my first thing was shoelaces. So she thought the shoelaces were the reason. She's like, yeah, I took your advice. I stopped when my feet went numb. I retied my shoes. I loosened them up. The pain went away. But then it came back. So now we're to the point where like, you need to go to physical therapy. That's just not a normal thing. We've exhausted all our options. And she went to a physical therapist last week, and he told her, it has to do with her muscle imbalance in her glutes.
Everything always comes back to that glute muscle
Right,
imbalance.
because the glutes aren't working, so her lower leg is taking all the stress, which I knew when if you have any like below the knee, like calf strains or below the knee pain, usually it has to do with the glutes. The powerhouse isn't working right, and then your lower leg is taking the stress. So he seems to think the numb feet have to do with her muscle imbalance in her glutes, and so he just gave her, I think, 4 new exercises to do. And it's like, okay, interesting. That's not the first thing that would have come to mind for numb feet, but let's go with it.
Yeah. 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 Some of the things that, when I looked it up, I saved it, but, were exactly what you said. Like, oops, wrong one. Um, of things to do first. Like, and like everything, like Wendy and I ask a lot of questions, and then whatever is a simple solution, like untying your shoes and tying them a little looser, or I've had people whose feet go numb on the bike, and I'm like, make sure you're moving your ankle,
Hmm.
because if your foot's just doing this and your ankle's not moving, you might not be getting blood flow into your foot.
Hmm.
And so, first, definitely try the simple things. So, the first thing they said is check your cleat position, check your shoe fit and stiffness. Maybe check on getting insoles or something for arch support. Um, it could be heat and sweat buildup. Like, it could
Hmm.
be something not mechanical. It could be something like just your body. So maybe wearing different socks. Um, the pedal and shoe interface, they said that, if it's a smaller like SPD, it might put more pressure than if it's like a bigger pedal.
Hmm.
And then after those little things, it could be biomechanics and foot structure. Then that would be something to check out, and then moving up from there. And then if all those things are in check and you're still having problems, then yeah, for sure, see somebody about your whole mechanics of your body.
Is it a female?
Yes.
Those hormonal
Or damn gosh, the
perimenopause,
hormones.
menopause issues. I mean, the things I've heard from women in the last year that their doctor has told them is a symptom of perimenopause and menopause. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I
So,
believe
yeah.
it though. Hormones, like, if you have unregulated hormones, it can affect every single part of your body, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's another good thing to get checked out. What are you most excited for the week? This
My
upcoming
4th
week?
of July 10K.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so good.
It's the big 10K. So the Peachtree 10K, it attracts over 60,000 people. I haven't done it in 3 years. Last time I did it was in 2022, and then I broke my knee in 2023. And my husband wanted to do it this year, and I was fine because I haven't done it. So I'm like, I don't, I'm fine not doing it. But he wanted to do it. So we stay in a hotel. It's not that far away, but we like to go down on the 3rd of July and check in the hotel right at the start of the race because it's point to point. And then I do my race. I call him. He usually hasn't started yet.
Yeah,
I'm in
because it's
A
like
wave.
Boulder. Like
Yeah.
the waves are hours
Yeah.
apart.
I'm an A. I think he's an L. Anyways, the last time we did it, I was done and he hadn't started yet. So I just kind of hang out, do a cool down and kind of look for my friends and just admire just the thousands of people that do this. And then it usually starts at maybe 7 a.m. But usually by 9 or 10, there's usually heat advisory,
Right.
meaning the temperature, the humidity, and the dew point are all super high. And you get this text alert, race is canceled. And there's still thousands of people out there, but what do they do? They races are canceled, and we know that's going to happen. So like, even if you don't carry your phone, don't be surprised if it happens, which means, if you're out on the course and there's no aid stations, well, it was canceled. You're responsible for your own heat stroke ailment if that's something that's going to happen to you. But with the amount of volunteers, the Atlanta Track Club does such a good job. Usually no one everyone's taken care of. People will finish and it's fine. It's a tradition.
Is it like Boulder? That each age group is your age. So like
Each age.
in Boulder, like I'm 52 right now, so my
Uh-huh.
age group is 52.
Oh, no, it's not like that. I think it's a 5-year
Okay. Because
increment. It could be 10-year increment. It's not age.
okay.
But
Because that's
you're
what
right. Again, I haven't done the boulder God knows how long, but I
right.
don't remember that.
Yeah, Boulder, it's your age. You're only
Okay.
your one age. So like there's like because the same thing, there's like 50,000 people. So
Uh-huh.
there's still like 400 people in each age group, but it's just one number.
Oh, that's
So,
fun.
yeah. So it's
And that's Memorial Weekend.
that's yeah, Memorial Weekend.
Okay, yeah, ours is July 4th.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, have so much fun. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. Me
That's
too.
when you started wanting to do well in the Peachtree is when we ended our 4th of July track marathon.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like I would
exactly.
die right now if I tried to do a track marathon this
Oh yeah,
weekend.
I couldn't do it, especially like I'm the heat here. I know it's heat everywhere. It's different type of heat though.
Yeah.
But like, yesterday when it was close to 100 degrees with, 70% humidity, almost 80% dew point, it's just disgusting. But again, I don't mind being active in it because I went on a bike ride and I was so excited. I was so excited to ride outside, which I rarely do. But when it's really hot out, I just adore riding outside. But I don't like standing outside in the heat. I don't like just standing there doing nothing. I'm
Right.
not a sunbather just lying out in the sun. Even in the sun with the shade, I just don't want to be I want to be active in the heat. I'm okay with being active in the heat.
Yeah, I did my first time. I've only ridden on my bike twice in the last 6 weeks, just because I haven't had time. But last Friday, I had time to go bike, and it was the only time I've had in weeks. And I wanted to ride the Boulder Peak course because the race is in 2 weeks, and I want to do really well. And I couldn't leave my house until 1:30 because my schedule. So I get to Tom Watson at 2 o'clock. It was 98 degrees and windy, and there was two other cars in the parking lot. So for those of you who like have ever been to Tom Watson to start your ride, you usually can't even find a parking place.
Yeah.
Like it's so packed all the time. There was two other cars in the parking lot. I did the whole bike course, which is 25 miles. It took me 30 minutes longer than normal
Yeah.
because I didn't want to go hard because it was so hot and so windy. I
Hmm.
just wanted to do it. And I saw one person. This is Boulder on a Friday. I saw one other cyclist the whole entire 25 miles. So, but I didn't mind being out in the heat. I was just being a little cautious. I didn't want to like do anything dangerous.
So what are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to. I have not been able to get in a big race, big training week or weekend or day at all since the summer started. And this weekend we have a swim meet Saturday. I'm going to do some training Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. So I have
Yay.
3 days in a row of training, and then I'm going to start tapering a little bit for Boulder Peak because that's in two
Uh-huh.
weeks. But yeah, I'm
Nice.
just excited to like get in a solid big training day. All my workouts have been an hour,
Yeah,
except
that's
for that
awesome.
Boulder Peak ride, but that was only 25 miles and then I was done. I didn't have
Yeah,
time to
that's
do
great.
anything else. So super excited for a big training weekend.
Yeah. Yay, me too.
If you guys have any questions or want to share your travel tips, travel made easy tips, or let us know what you guys want to hear about, what you want us to chat about on our next podcast, just reach out. We like hearing from you.
Yeah.
Yay. Thanks for being here.
Make it a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten.
If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes.
We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review.
And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week.
Thanks for listening.
Make it a great day.